Tonight at 9 o'clock, legal crews battle over sending a man accused of killing a cop to trial.
Montana's infrastructure brings home a bad report card.
Bozeman businesses join in on this year's Toys for Tots drive.
And a vehicle in Missoula goes up in flames as the community's homeless population struggles to stay warm.
Covering Montana right now. This is Fox Local News at 9.
And thanks for joining us after tonight's NFL matchup, which we're proud to broadcast live right here on your local Fox Montana news station. Good evening, I'm Angela Marshall.
And I'm Ben Wyman. Thanks for joining us tonight. Our weather authority, Megan Barassa, she's standing by with your latest forecast. But first, we have to turn our attention to our sports director, Sean Rainey. We're going to try to do this every week with Thursday Night Football here on Fox Montana. He put his football knowledge to the test tonight with some bold predictions. He likes to make those between the Titans and the Jags. Take a look. Titans, Jags, sports director Sean Rainey, who you got Thursday Night Football?
I'm going Titans at home. Cody Kessler and the Jags on offense won't be able to score. 21-13. Titans, book it, mark it down. I'm right.
Titans, book it, mark it down.
He booked it. He marked it down.
So, Sean, you actually chose the winning team. Way to go. The score, a little off.
Yeah, I mean, Derrick Henry went crazy, and Cody Kessler and the Jags offense not quite up to par as I thought. But, hey, at least I got the Titans correct. Crazy runs, though, and later in sports we'll talk some local basketball at the high school level, and the Gatorade Montana Football Player of the Year was announced today. We'll tell you who that was. But, hey, 1-0 in my picks so far, so I'll take it.
1-0, can't go wrong with that. Thanks so much, Sean. Well, in Montana right now, Western Montana ski fanatics were greeted with a sweet treat today as Whitefish Mountain Ski Resort celebrated another successful opening day. This is the resort's 71st year in operation, opening one day earlier than last year. And those who hit the mountain were surely greeted with plenty of sunshine. Bluebird ski days, we call that, Ben.
Beautiful images up there in Whitefish. And with many families kind of strapping on the snow gear for opening weekend, we now turn to our weather authority, Megan Barassa, for the latest on the region's just bone-chilling conditions.
Bone-chilling. Couldn't have said it any better. Megan, can we expect colder temperatures for people hitting the slopes this weekend?
Well, actually, no. For this weekend, temperatures are slowly going to be rising back into the 30s for most of western Montana. But tomorrow's lows, even though it's going to be very chilly, it's not going to be quite as cold as what it was from this morning. So for tomorrow around 6 o'clock in the morning, West Yellowstone being the coldest, seeing negative 19 degrees. Now Butte also being in the negatives, and same with Dillon. But the rest of us sticking around the single digits for tomorrow. Now for tonight, we have mostly clear skies, which is what's going to continue with the cold temperatures. Well, tomorrow, even though it's still going to be cold, it's not going to be as cold as what it was from this morning. And then later on this week, for next week, snow is going to be returning, causing those slick road conditions. But all more details on that coming up in just a little bit. For now, Andrew, Ben, send it back over to you.
Thanks, Megan. We are learning new information tonight about a vehicle caught fire near Expressway and Industrial Road in Missoula. The video shows what appears to be an RV caught on fire. The flames sparked around 5 p.m. Missoula authorities say a transient family living in their car started the fire, all while trying to escape the cold and just stay warm. Luckily, no injuries were reported. And as the temperatures continue to drop across the region, Missoula remains without an operating warming center for the city's homeless.
This after the Salvation Army requested $11,000 in emergency funding from those county commissioners. Our Stella Sun talked with the Salvation Army officers today to find out what they need to start operations.
The Missoula Salvation Army is on the mission to open a warming center for the city's homeless. Earlier this afternoon, the Salvation Army raised $39,000 of its $50,000 goal to run the shelter. But this evening, a late donation puts them less than $6,000 away from their goal.
And that's the budget we need for supplies and for staffing the center and all the different costs associated with running the shelter.
The Union Gospel Mission in Missoula used to run the warming center, but the Salvation Army took over operations in October.
The Salvation Army didn't have any plans to actually be to run a winter shelter, and so because of that, we hadn't had a plan for fundraising. We hadn't put a plan in place to reach out to the community for funds because it wasn't a program that we were planning on doing.
If they're able to do that, then the fellowship hall here in the building will be transformed into the warming shelter. The Salvation Army asked the Missoula County Commissioners for help with funding on Wednesday. According to Commissioner Cola Rowley, her office told Boyd to continue raising funds through private donations, and after the holidays, if the Salvation Army needs more money, they could look into helping out.
So we told them to talk to our grants department after the first of the year, and if there's a remaining gap in funding, to come and make a formal request for the money.
Boyd says given how generous Missoula has been thus far, he's confident people will continue to donate money for the shelter, especially knowing now they're closer to reaching their goal. Reporting in Missoula, I'm Stella Sun, Montana Right Now.
Well, top ice climbers from around the world are in Bozeman right now, taking advantage of the cold and wintry weather. Our Rachel Louise Just spoke with one climber excited to reach new heights at this year's Ice Climbing Festival.
This is year 22 of the Bozeman Ice Festival, an event that has consistently drawn people from all over the world to Bozeman. One of those people, Tom Livingston, the first climber to conquer the north face of Ladakh One Mountain in Pakistan. The more than 23,000-foot mountain defeated more than 30 expeditions before Livingston's team finally ascended it in August. Livingston spoke about his experience on the route on Thursday night.
To climb big mountains in the Himalaya requires a lot of luck. You need to be at the right place at the right time with the right team. We were very lucky to succeed with our route.
And Bozeman climbers had the benefit of learning from Livingston hands-on, with on-ice climbing classes in Highlight Canyon.
It's been nice to introduce other people to the sport as well. It's quite a surreal experience to climb a frozen waterfall.
The event also has elements of a film festival, with viewings of films like The Dawn Wall and Free Solo. Most nights feature special guests, like Livingston, who share their experiences on ice walls around the world.
I really enjoy ice climbing because it can take you to some great places, like Bozeman.
The Bozeman Ice Festival runs through Sunday at the Emerson Center for the Arts. In Bozeman, Rachel Louise Just, Montana Right Now.
A safety alert tonight ahead of a busy holiday travel season. Health officials are urging parents to vaccinate young children against the measles.
Now, in light of an international outbreak of measles, Bozeman County and even state health departments are following strict guidelines from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. They say all children under the age of 7 should be given their MMR, measles, mumps, rubella vaccine before traveling.
And Europe really experiencing a large outbreak of measles right now. And there have been over 220 cases of viruses confirmed in the United States as of November 3rd. There has not been a case of measles in the state of Montana, by the way, since 1990. But to keep children safe from other travelers, the Gallatin City County Health Department and the Department of Health and Human Services say make sure your young child gets the MMR vaccine. Measles spreads through coughing, sneezing, and other respiratory droplets, and babies, pregnant women, and the unvaccinated are most at risk of contracting it.
It's not a reason to be afraid. It's not a reason not to travel, not to go see the world, but it is a reason to take advantage of those amazing advances in public health that vaccines offer.
Now, if your child is showing signs of high fever, runny nose, cough, watery eyes, and the telltale head-to-toe rash, call the health department. Measles complications can lead to pneumonia, encephalitis, and even death.
In May of 2017, Broadwater County Sheriff's Deputy Mason Moore was shot and killed during a routine traffic stop. Suspects Lloyd Barris and his son Marshall fled, leading law enforcement on a high-speed chase westbound along Interstate 90. Now, the chase ended in a shootout with law enforcement where Marshall Barris was shot and killed by law enforcement. Prosecutors said Barris and his son planned a, quote, suicide mission involving a shootout with police.
Now we fast forward to June. District Judge Kathy Seeley found Barris was not able to help with his defense against a charge of accessory to deliberate homicide. Now, a new hearing is underway in that Barris case. Our Spencer Martin has the latest.
A hearing is underway in Helena to determine if Barris should be forcibly medicated in an effort to make him competent to stand trial.
I think that forcing someone to be medicated so that he could be mentally fit just opens up a whole slew of problems.
Since being declared mentally unfit to stand trial in June, Barris has been held at the Montana State Hospital in Warm Springs. On Wednesday, Montana State Hospital psychiatrist Virginia Hill testified that Barris has responded to antipsychotic medication in the past, but he's promised a fight to the death against being forcibly medicated. University of Montana law professor Andrew King Rees says there are two things to look at with being competent in court.
Can he assist with his defense? So he has a Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial or right to a defense. The other aspect is, can you understand the proceedings themselves?
Defense attorney Greg Jackson argued on Wednesday that Barris's delusional disorder should be treated with cognitive therapy. Local criminal lawyer Brandon Hartford questions if forcibly medicating Barris is the answer.
Who's going to make the determination he's fit to proceed again? Is there going to be a brand new psychological evaluation that's similar to the one that they gave originally to determine that he wasn't fit to proceed?
Professor King Rees added it is very difficult to find an answer for this case. And if a clear answer can't be found, Barris's case may move to higher courts in the future. In Billings, Spencer Martin, Montana Right Now.
Montana received a C on its infrastructure report card today. Literally, an American Society of Civil Engineers released its infrastructure report card after evaluating the Big Sky on everything from bridges, roads to schools. And this year, Montana's railways earned the state's highest score, AB, based on railway condition and moving freight. Now, coming in last with a D-, Montana schools. Officials say this rating was based off the average age of school facilities in the Treasure State, which is 53 years old. While funding has been set aside for critical school repairs, officials say many schools are still struggling to provide students with a safe, healthy, and productive work environment. The report suggests collecting revenue from tourists to build long-standing infrastructure to prepare for the state's growing population.
Now, in an effort to improve Montana's infrastructure, the U.S. Department of Transportation is granting nearly $12 million to upgrade the Kalispell bypass. Senators Steve Daines and Jon Tester, along with Congressman Greg Gianforte, have all voiced their support of the plan that will widen a 2-mile section of the bypass on Highway 93. Officials say the grant will expand the existing 2 lanes to 4 and replace an additional roundabout at Foys Lake Road. Senator Daines says, quote, "From driving to work every day to welcoming visitors at Glacier National Park, this infrastructure is critical to Montana's economy and jobs."
We got a lot more coming up on the Fox Montana News at 9. An outstanding accolade for a high school athlete, but unlike years past, the Gatorade Player of the Year is not coming from the Class AA ranks. We'll tell you who won the award. That's coming up later in sports.
And an emotional and painful homecoming for victims of California's deadly Camp Fire. They returned to their property for the first time this week, and our cameras were there. We'll show you.
But just ahead, we're in store for another day of bone-chilling temperatures. Megan tells us just how cold it will get as she previews your weekend weather forecast. All that coming up after the break.
This segment of the news is brought to you by First Security Bank, a division of Glacier Bank.